Welcome to what possibly could be the last episode of Pootis Customs. It's probably unlikely the show is done with, but for the meantime, I think I'm pretty much done with the Season 1 of this series. I have many more customs in the future I can cover, so I'll be fine. Plus, I have plenty of other content ideas like layout running videos and such, so let's finish our journey off where we started at and catch up with our good old friend Scallop, the Project Peak, Class 46. We all know how Scallop was made in the pilot episode, but since he's changed now, he finally has some coaches that are now decent, and he's an all-time favourite model of mine. I extended the buffer bar down so there is enough space between him and the track, same level as his coach's side bogie frame detail. Same along with his bogie frames. I added some card squares to look like my lazy attempt at springs, and some filed down gem stick-on bulbs that look like the axle caps. I think that's what they're called, I'm not sure. They're like the little yellow dots along the side of the bogies of carriages and diesel locomotives. I don't know what they're called. And of course he's been freshened up. His musty, crusty, gross looking yellow ends are now clean and sort of in a cheese slice yellow shade. He's joined by his other diesel friends of course, and if I ever made a series about Scallop, it's definitely all about the diesel engines, because people don't give him enough justice. Now, time for some updated backstory, all done by Top Tubs, also known as Billy the Cringe. Yeah, I know you're watching, man. Cringy little... In the mid to late 1980s, was becoming ever-present to British Rail that despite all their efforts they did, they still did not have enough suitable and modern traction. They really could not afford a whole new locomotive, however, and with the Class 60 and Channel Tunnel project slowly but surely coming along. Therefore, BR saw it fit to try and cobble together two new types of locomotives, a freight locomotive and a passenger locomotive. Why? Well, you see, by now BR had abandoned the philosophy of mixed traffic locomotives and instead sought to create locomotives specifically catered to freight or passenger work, etc. The idea for the passenger locomotive very quickly fell through, however, as DMUs and EMUs were seen as far more efficient. So, the Class 63 was the sole survivor of the project. BR chose the Class 44, 45 and 46 locomotives as they are now being withdrawn from service. There were plenty of locomotives to choose from. Despite the weight of the peaks, BR remained dead set on the peaks. This was due to their bogies. They were quite long, with lots of space between each axle and a trailing wheel. BR were less concerned with raw power when it came to the Class 63. They had the 60 for that. They were more concerned for speed and stability, which the long wheelbase would supposedly help with. And so, BR handed several peaks over to Brush Engineering in Loughborough. In 1992, after a hard 4 years of work and experimentation, 63001 came out of Brush Works. Internally, it was almost a different locomotive, even in the cab, with a new cab design based off of the Class 58. Externally, however, it still looked a lot like a peak. The ends did have some modifications though. These being that the head code panels were plated over and everything was smoothed over besides the old lights. WIPAC light clusters were added. Buffers were placed with oleo ones similar to the design to the oleo buffers featured on the Class 47. The old screw-link couplings were replaced with hook and Janny couplers, with the option for the hook to be removed and replaced with a fixed Janny coupler. 63001 became fart. 63001 became part of the rail freight distribution fleet. 63001 worked for a good few years, but problems quickly arose and became apparent that 63001 was not the miracle loco BR had thought it out to be. It was naturally handed over to EWS at the turn of privatization, and it had the Big Beastie's yellow square livery applied. They gave it some tweaks, but it was still a non-standard locomotive at the end of the day, and in 2000 it was finally withdrawn, but kept in good condition. 63001 regularly made appearances on open days. In 2006, the loco was withdrawn and bought by Cotswold Rail. The loco enjoyed a good few years being hired out for various jobs before once again being withdrawn in 2009. The loco sat for a number of years with condition worsening considerably, before being snapped up by a private collector in 2013. It was overhauled with work completed in 2017, with 63001 then heading off to Eastleigh to be outshopped in a plain blue livery, with full yellow ends and a light grey roof. Right after, it was hired out by GBRF. This was so successful that 63001 is now hired out to any company that needs it. It has been hired out by LNER pulling Mark IV DVT sets, Freightliner and Network Rail among others. Thank you so much for watching Pootis Customs. This show has had a short run, but hopefully we'll be back for more soon. Truth be told, I might have rushed this series a little. It's because on Wednesday and Thursday they're my days off from college where I can be home alone and be as loud as I want. So this series felt a little bit of a burden to me mentally, but I didn't want to just give it up right away like I always do. I powered on and now we're here at the end, and I'm glad you all came with me for the ride. Thank you so much. Until next time, see you then. I don't fucking know.
Great job. Fantastic. Now, I don't have any worries about your ears. Everything's been good, though? You haven't had any issues that you can think of? Any trouble hearing directionally? Close 4, everything's been pretty good. Good. How about this? Have any of your friends or family members told you that you've been talking rather loudly?